The one where Ross discovers he has an identical twin, separated at birth, and experiences true transcendental loss when his twin dies in his arms because, he incorrectly believes, of his own carelessness, leading to the shattering devastation of his perception of self and total evaporation of his ego, setting him on the path of spiritual pilgrimage and the rejection of the material world, and Phoebe gets the hiccups. The one where Chandler falls in love with a robotic mannequin at Rachel's department store, and the mannequin becomes pregnant and births robotic quintuplets embodying the 5 different facets of Chandler's personality: fussiness, quixoticism, enablement, piety, and mettle, each quintuplet challenging Ross, Joey, Rachel, Phoebe, and Monica to a feat of mental, physical, or psychological strength. The one where Monica eats rancid Marmite on a dare and gains super speed, which she uses to clean the apartment before it even becomes dirty, thus distorting the dimensional continuum and fracturing the timeline into infinite distinct but simultaneous episodes, each of which feature Joey accidentally ordering a 12-foot instead of a 12-inch meatball grinder and feeling obliged to consume the entire thing. The one where Phoebe, Chandler, Ross, Monica, and Joey pretend that they can't see or hear Rachel for 2 years until she becomes smaller and denser and her body turns into a lemon lavender-scented candle and her head a flame, which Ross knocks over while stealing one of Monica's famous double chocolate chip cookies that she made specifically for a charity bake sale. The apartment building burns to the ground and Rachel is reborn as a blazing phoenix from the ashes. The other 5 grab onto her and she flies them to a remote tropical island where they live a paradisical existence, eating wild mangoes and passion fruit until Joey loses the remote. The one where Rachel has a black friend. The one where Phoebe's Russian sleeper cell awakens after 20 years dormant and she is assigned to eliminate an extremely dangerous, high-level CIA assassin who turns out to be Joey. After a months-long game of cat and mouse, they finally square off, destroying both apartments in an extended hand-to-hand melee that lasts hours until Chandler comes home, surveys the damage and his sweaty, exhausted, bleeding compatriots and says, "Va-va-voom, get a room." The one where Monica, Joey, Chandler, Ross, Phoebe, Rachel, and Jeff go to Paris to celebrate their 5-year friendiversary, and Jeff falls to his death off the Eiffel Tower. The one where Chandler becomes obsessed with a new flavor of gum, but it gets discontinued, sending him on a single-minded pursuit of its formula, eventually leading him to hijack a plane, which, in a tussle with the pilot, crash lands on a paradisical island where he discovers Ross, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, and Joey, and himself, in what appears to be some kind of alternate timeline. The one where Phoebe brings home a lovable talking labradoodle that quickly reveals itself to be even more critical and uptight than Monica, who experiences a tough moment of self-recognition when she puts it down. The one where Joey gets lost in a sweater. The silent one, where Ross, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, Rachel, and Joey discover that they share a single spirit that is splintered into 6 parts, and they stop talking as they learn to communicate with their thoughts and function as a single being, all of them falling in love with Dennis Rodman, who accepts them into his harem and turns them into the greatest basketball team of all time.